most veterinarians will tell you that they knew they wanted to be a vet right off the bat when they were little kids, and that's how I was. Every picture, everything, I'm grabbing the stray cat. I grew up on a farm, so I'm holding the calves. I'm doing all that. So becoming a veterinarian was all kind of part of the goal, and it was just how do you accomplish that goal? How do you get in through that admission process to get that done?
Why animals? That's a great question. So, pets, I think, really bring joy to people's lives, and I love science. I love the medical side of veterinary medicine and figuring out what's wrong with pets when they're sick, how can I help them, how can I make them feel better. I love healthy visits too, and just keeping pets alive and as healthy as possible for as long as possible, because I truly think that they bring such an invaluable part to people's lives that they need an advocate as well, and so it really speaks to me to do that, but it also speaks to my science background of learning the medical side of it as well.
My dad's a doctor, my sister's a doctor, and thought orthopedic surgeon would be good with all the knee injuries that I had, and then I got a dog during that time while I was taking my prerequisite classes and had to take him to the vet a lot, and always liked animals, never thought that I would become a vet, and thought this is even better than human medicine, and decided to switch applications and applied to vet school, and went to Scotland for vet school, so it was a little bit closer to home since my folks still live in Germany, and it was a good experience, 5 years in Scotland, and but then I couldn't wait to come back to sunny San Diego.
It all started, I think, I originally was always interested in animals, and my father, we always had chickens and all kinds of animals, almost like a farm. And I was more of an outdoorsy guy, which is totally opposite what I'm doing now, but I was actually wanting to be a field biologist. So I had actually started working towards that goal. I was working at USF and working on my bachelor's, and then I was going to do my master's in that. I was doing field work, and I kept finding wild animals that had been hit on the road or animals that had been injured. And so I would collect them up, and I got involved with wildlife rehabilitation. So I started first depositing animals there, and then there was nobody to take them to veterinarians. So I ended up taking these animals to local vets who was willing to give their time to help these animals, and that's where I got really inspired, because I said, God, this is neat, because you see your actions create good. And so that really is what drove me. And again, I'm a bit philosophical about it, but when I originally wanted to do this, I was very, I guess shall I say, I wasn't supported like I should have been, I thought. A lot of people said, no, you'll never be a vet, don't do it, you don't make any money, it's just not. And I was really, even in college, they were giving me a hard time about it. And I think it drove me even more to prove them wrong. And so that is what drove it, I think, and got me started. But then realizing that, and that's why I really feel that this is a gift.
I did this because I love working with animals, and I love communicating with people. And I feel that veterinarians, we're the bridge between the pet's health and the owner's understanding, because an animal can't care for itself. A person can't interpret what's going on with an animal. The animal can't give itself medications. So there's just so many roadblocks there. So we're that piece in the middle that helps the owner communicate with our veterinarians to then provide the best care to a patient. And then, going backwards, it provides the patient an ability to tell their owner why they're not feeling well. And that's always been it for me, is just that communicator. I think there are a million veterinarians that are really wonderful in different ways. I think that my strength comes from my ability to communicate with people and connect in a way that helps them understand health.